So let's bring in the royal commentator, Kinsey Schofield, who's in Los Angeles. Kinsey, what are people saying about this over there?
I mean, like you're saying on your panel, this looks like a huge blow to Prince Harry. This is somebody who feels like it's his legacy to change the media landscape. And, you know, he's not just doing it to protect his wife, but he wants to do it to honor his late mother. And I do think there is clearly a huge amount of support for Prince Harry still in the States. While their brand has taken a turn, there are a lot of people that sympathize with him, specifically when it comes to media intrusion.
And on that note, Kinsey, I mean, do you think that the media intrusion that we all acknowledge that the media intrusion that Harry got here was bad? In fact, the lawyers on both sides of most of these cases have said that. But do most Americans think that the UK media is a lot worse than the American media is when it comes to invasion of privacy?
Well, you know, I want to say yes, but at the same time, throughout this process of Harry's multiple trials now, I've talked to like the editor of People magazine here in America, who said they would use this swarm technique where they would, because it's so hard to get information on the British royal family, they would send like 30 reporters out to Ascot or out to the Derby just to hover to try to get information on the royal family. So there is a pretty good, amount of invasion of privacy that happens here in the States as well.
Yeah, there was also an awful lot of pretty racy stories written about the royal family in places like the National Enquirer and the Globe and some of those weekly tabloid newspapers that get published in America. And of course, they don't even have the same legal restrictions in America either, because they're much more free to publish whatever you like. I remember you'd see front covers of the National Enquirer about, Chuck and his new affair with some, woman that nobody had ever heard of, and they would do that quite regularly. So, I think in terms of the sort of stuff that's been written in America, it's been a lot worse actually than some of the stuff that's been written here.
James, you wanted to come in.
I agree with you. I have seen some of those extreme things. And I mean, one of the worst stories about Prince Harry that happened, globally was the TMZ story, which is a local gossip site that caught those pictures of him, the naked Vegas romp. So yeah. American media is aggressive.
Kinsey, let me ask you, we talk about the brand of Harry. We've seen some very big deals done. What's the interest now by either companies or media organisations to hire Harry? Has he blown it in terms of the brand and the worth? Has he said everything that's worth saying?
James, I'd argue that he hasn't, because he said in some of his interviews while promoting Spare that there was a significant amount of information that he left out, whether it was due to legal or just it didn't fit. He has said that there's a lot of stuff that didn't make the book, so there's still plenty that he has to say. I've argued over the last few months that if Harry and Meghan would give people a more genuine, sincere view of their world through something like their Netflix deal, they take the power away from the media. We can no longer sit around and guess what's going on, because every Tuesday we get a new episode of Harry and Meghan and we know exactly what's going on. So I think the power's still in their hands. And, maybe Harry will try to find other options versus just this litigation to take control.
Kinsey Schofield, thank you so much for joining us.